corner if it's a little less wind-free, a little better, hopefully. Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. If that don't work, my internal microphone is not really going to work very good. All right, so anyway, back to the Harley dealership. It's a crappy, cold, bad road condition day somewhat. I was just so bored I needed to get out of the house, and like I said, I wanted a brand new one of these with 0 miles on it. That was all mine. And yeah, I kind of set the two bikes against each other. A 22 with 300 miles on it and this brand new 25. And, you know, I was willing to pay, a year or two more or whatever to get the payment lower and just buy the new one. Maybe get a better interest rate. Yeah, that did not happen, by the way. Anyway, so I get the new young guy as the sales guy. So, he just kind of did all the basic stuff. He wasn't really part of the sales gimmicks. He wasn't part of the shenanigans, really. Miles, nice young man. I don't know how long. If he doesn't have a conscience, he's probably got, he'll stay. But, yeah, if you've got a soul, you're not going to sell fucking motorcycles at that dealership for very long, because they do some horrible, shady tactics. So they're just fucking people all day long. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to say that. Yeah, so anyway, let's get down to that, shall we? So anyway, we ended up, it seemed like the payment was going to be a little bit lower on the newer one. It was still too high. They had about $10,000 worth of markup on the bike above MSRP with the freight and all those charges. And they did mark the bike itself up about $3,300. And so, yeah, I just kept I told them no like 3 times. Like, I can't, the payment's too high. You're $10,000 over MSRP. That's terrible. So I'm sorry I wasted your time, but so they're like, oh no, you're not wasting our time. Oh no. And they're like, we're gonna figure out what we can do to get you this bike today. So yeah, that's when he starts rolling out. He rolls out with the purchase contract at a table outside the office. By the way, we're not even discussing finance. He's got this purchase contract and a pen, and he's just, going back and forth to the office and coming up on the trade-in value on my bike, which they never did come up high enough on it, but they did come up, I guess, $4,000 from what we started, which was still, over $3,000 of negative equity with what I owed on it yet. A loan that I got from them, which had, which they would not cover their own negative equity on the bike I bought previously from them. I owed 16. I got them up to 12. They started at 8. And we hem-hawed around, and I sent him back to the office about 3 times, and he comes back with kind of a reasonable monthly payment. So I figured, they must have, they did something to get the payment down, so it must be all right. So then, and they sold 4 other bikes there that day. So I would just kill to know if I got the worst deal of everyone there that day. I probably did, because it's pretty bad. And I was watching somebody on YouTube, one of the other Harley Davidson guys I like to watch on YouTube, and he just bought a 24 Street Glide, out the door, tax, title, license, $30,000. And granted, it's a previous model year, which, God, if I had it to do over again, maybe I would have checked into that, man. For a decent interest rate, Might have been all right. I mean, maybe I could have went with the street glide, you know, a 24 street glide. Anyway, I don't like all the bat wing and the electronics, and I don't like that. I absolutely, the Heritage is the one I wanted. This is the bike. This is the bike to end all bikes for me. Anyway. So then what happened, Justin, you might ask? Well, oh, okay, so I signed the purchase contract. I didn't, you know, I wasn't smart enough to say, hey, oh, you better check the interest rate, you better check the, you know, how many years the loan is and all this kind of shit. And it didn't even cross my mind, you know. They kind of got the payment down where I wanted it. I knew they had some markup on the bike. You know, whatever. I really want this bike. I want to do, you know, this is what I want to take it home. I want to take it home today. So, you know, after they get done helping the other 4 people, I had to sit around for like 2 hours for the privilege of getting railed on this bike. Anyway, so I finally get in the paperwork office. And I'm like, so what's the interest rate? And he's like 15%. I'm like, well, really? I mean, my credit's perfect. Why is the interest rate so high? How many years is it? Oh, it's 8 years. Oh. So that's how you did it. That's how you got the payment down. You went 8 years. But, you know, obviously the payment wasn't that terrible low. I mean, it was acceptable, I thought. But yeah, at that interest rate, I mean, the payment would have been a lot lower at, you know, like say 7% or something. Half, dude. Normal, you know, I would say an acceptable interest rate is half of what they charged me, and I have perfect credit, so, you know. And then he proceeds to DocuSign, you know, he calls up the finance paperwork on his computer and DocuSigns it. He DocuSigns for me without asking if it's okay, or I'm right there. I could have signed it. But no, he DocuSigned it. So, is that legal? I mean, did he just fraudulently sign my paperwork? You know? So if anybody knows if that's legal for someone to DocuSign your finance paperwork without even asking you if that deal is okay with you, you know, let me know. I mean, I don't want to give the bike back anyway. I mean, I probably should if I get the opportunity to get out of this horrible loan. I probably should take it and then go look for another one at a, you know, a volume dealership instead of a stealership. Just cruising along and forth. Let's pop her up here. I'm skirting the edge of the break-in RPM there, fellas. We better drop her down a little. Yeah, we're on her 28. I like 28. 28 seems to be like a really nice highway cruising. So anyway, the guy on the YouTube video just got a brand new street glide for 30 out the door, and I'm sitting there like, fuck. I'm like 34 out the door on a Heritage.